let's get into it. I do think that having Brian Flores now on the market is a very interesting situation because, I think he's probably a pretty good head coach. I mean, you don't know for sure. It's like people saying that this guy's a good play caller, bad play caller, where they don't really have any of the details necessary to make that determination a lot of times for certain passing plays and what his passing scheme is just too basic. Do you even know? Do you even know what you're talking about?
Right.
You can't even see the layers.
He's a defensive coach, and apparently he had he would fire his coordinator again. It would be 4 coordinators in 4 years. He's not very good at hiring that offensive guy.
That is one of the concerns is, does he know how to put together staff? Don't worry about it. We've got a GM here who does everything for you. He's kind of the
But that's why coach. He's not there. That's why he's not in Miami, because he wants to buy the groceries and cook the meal as well.
Well, he wants the quarterback he wants, and apparently some of the rumors and reports are that he wanted Deshaun Watson, and they have made the decision. Deshaun Watson apparently is not going to be a Miami Dolphin.
Not because he liked Brian Flores.
He likes Brian Flores, and Brian Flores liked Deshaun Watson, and Stephen Ross and apparently Chris Greer, the general manager, said, you know what? Tua's won us over, and we're going to roll with Tua. And the reports are that Flores doesn't like it. Well, let's just work through this scenario. What if Brian Flores were to come to Houston as the head coach? All of a sudden, could things ever go back to the way they were with Deshaun Watson after sitting out and taking the team's money and not putting any effort into being a Houston Texan? Literally stealing money all year long, because that's what it was. He stole money.
Yeah.
Didn't have to do anything. All the lawsuits that are here, presumably everyone is in this general area, but who knows? I mean, one girl flew in from Atlanta, we know. So I don't know about he's clearly damaged his reputation in Houston, but he also had a great reputation in Houston previously. Like, that's where he built his reputation. Is there any chance, it would be a long shot, that the Texans might go after a guy who has had some success over the last couple of years, who appears to be a pretty good coach, who has had experience with the Patriot way, and still bring back a quarterback who you thought would never be a Houston Texan again?
The pros for that, Brian Flores is a guy who Deshaun wants. That's one of the reasons that Deshaun isn't here, because how they bungled the whole head coaching search, that they didn't even listen to him, wouldn't bring anybody in. The more things change, ... is what Deshaun tweeted right after the hiring of Nick Caserio. He didn't have a say. He was told he would have some kind of say. He didn't have any. So Brian Flores would be a pro. Brian Flores might be able to come in here and soothe things over between the organization and Deshaun Watson. The cons, Brian Flores is the exact opposite of David Culley, and Nick Caserio would have to actually cede power, which I don't see happening.
Cede power? You mean let a head coach be a head coach?
That's exactly right.
Well, that should happen at some point.
Well, it's not going to happen here anytime soon. I don't think that Brian Flores ends up here. Lamont pointed out that he and Deshaun have the same agent, Brian Flores, and which is one of the reasons maybe that Deshaun was enamored with going to Miami. In that, you know what, I know this guy. I've met him through they've met each other through the agent, and they know each other. Wherever Brian Flores lands, I think that's where you can look for Deshaun.
Good.
That's a selling point.
Good. Let's hope he gets it.
For Brian Flores to walk into an organization and say, I can get us Deshaun Watson.
There's not a lot of jobs open right now.
I think the damage
Deshaun's
that's been
going
done,
to Minnesota? Really?
Well, maybe not.
No.
Maybe not. Hey, get rid of Rule, and maybe he goes to Carolina.
Now, Denver is the spot.
Denver's a great spot.
Denver's the spot. Deshaun apparently is in for Denver anyway. Yeah. So if you added, if you were serious about adding Deshaun Watson, then you would add Brian Flores, and maybe that would. But let's go through the hypotheticals. The Texans get rid of David Culley. They bring in Brian Flores. Immediate upgrade as a head coach. He's been with Nick Caserio. He understands. So now the guy who wanted Deshaun in Miami and got overruled, the guy who has the same age as Deshaun, is there any chance that Deshaun Watson, it would take two. Number one, Deshaun Watson would have to say, I want to stay with the Houston Texans now. I'm back in. I bought in. Number 2, the Houston Texans would have to say, we forgive you sitting out the entire year and making us give you money for you to pay off all of your lawsuits and not playing a single snap for us and really doing nothing but taking our money and doing nothing. We forgive all of that money grabbing that you did and non-playing and all the lawsuits and the embarrassing public stuff, and we bring you back.
I do not see any scenario where Deshaun Watson plays for, even with Brian Flores, that he plays for the Houston Texans ever again.
Okay, do you think
not with the spirituality that's in the organization? They don't want Deshaun Watson as the face.
What if Deshaun preys on it?
Well, I think behind this, I think that if
Deshaun called
that boat sailed.
If Deshaun calls Jack and he says, "Listen, Jack, I've made some mistakes." Of course, Deshaun could go wherever. I mean, it's really just a matter of I'm lifting my no trade clause and I want to go here, here, here. I'm with you. I think there is a very small chance. I think it's worth the discussion though because of the connection with Brian Flores and because right now Deshaun has no other options. Right now he's got lawsuits, but he's got no other options and probably he missed the whole season and there is a chance he could get suspended for another 6 games or more.
You know right now behind the scenes that Mulugeta and Brian Flores is probably talking to Deshaun, probably explained, hey, dude, I'm out of there in large part because I wanted you so bad, blah, 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 blah. You ain't going to the Dolphins. If I'm Denver, I go, you know what? This Brian Flores guy is a nice get. And, oh, by the way, I think if we get him, we get Deshaun. I really do believe that Brian Flores and Deshaun Watson are going to hook up. It ain't going to be here. It ain't going to be here. But that's a good – I think if I'm Nick Cassera, I'm watching that closely, see where he lands. And now I got a chance to make a deal with somebody.